So I'm going to start by introducing Vanessa Lee, who many of you will know as the Manager of Economic Development I was going to say Economic Development in the rural city of Murray. So Vanessa is my manager, and we're going to tag team in this very insightful presentation today to give you an overview of the work that we do at the study hub.
Caroline, and thank you, council members and administration, for having us here today to talk about the study hub program. This program's been running for a long time across the Murrayland and Riverland, so I think this might be the first opportunity we've actually had to come and talk to you about this program. So it's great to be here in person today. So thank you. Right, okay, so not sure if any of you heard about the Regional University Study Hub program, but it has been a Department for Education program, so a federal program, which commenced back in 2019. So part of a national network of programs, it's all about removing the barriers associated with higher education for regional areas, and that is about keeping people in regions. And so it provides a physical place where local residents can come and study any higher education course through any higher education provider and remain in their community. So what it means is for us and for our communities, it's stronger local retention, it's keeping local skills and building them here in regions, and we know that there are long-term benefits of doing that. So as I mentioned, it's a national program. There's now 56 programs across Australia. It started back in 2018 and it's had to date over $150 million of investment from the Australian government. So there are 3 programs across South Australia, one of which is ours, the Murray River and Fleurieu Study Hub. There's also Uni Hub that operates Port Augusta, Port Perry, Roxby, Port Lincoln, and then one campus in Tanunda, which is the Barossa Regional Campus as well. What we do know is that every dollar invested in higher education returns around $4 in long-term economic benefits to society. And we know that that's through higher earnings, productivity and the economic activity associated with this workforce. So for council, this translates to more skilled local workforce, increased economic resilience and a stronger longer-term community outcome. And that's why the rural city of Murray is committed to this program and has been for many years and supports other councils to access this program as well. So I just want to take you on a quick journey. As I mentioned a couple of times, it started back in 2019, but the work really began in 2018 when there was a business case that was put together around what a regional university study hub would mean for Murray Bridge. At the time, in partnership with Regional Development Australia, it was also about having a campus in Murray Bridge and in the Riverland as well. And we were successful, Murray Bridge Council, in a 4-year grant back in 2018. And so Murray Bridge opened in 2019, and in 2020, right before COVID, a campus opened in Berry in the Riverland as well. It was then closed for a little while, and lots more happened in that journey. That's for another time. What also was taking place soon after is a conversation between us and the Fleurieu councils, and they were really keen to get a study hub and sort of leaned on us a little bit for our knowledge and our experience, and they worked on a business case for their end. They actually put a submission in 2021 but were unsuccessful. So over the next few years, we worked with them about how they could join our model. And so we looked at how we could scale our model, and we could make some operational changes in order to incorporate more hubs in more local government areas. And so in 2024, we were successful in grant funding for the Fleurieu Study Hub. So there's now one in Victor Harbour. And also then the Regional Development Australia, again, worked closely with us. They identified a need in Kangaroo Island. And so we put a submission in for Kangaroo Island, and we were successful and opened that one late last year. So this is what it looks like now. It is a Rural City of Murray Bridge program. So it's not an official committee. We do like to call it our Executive Steering Committee. And you can see along the top line there, the members of the committee. So Murray Bridge Council, TAFE, Regional Development, Berry-Barmera Council, Coorong Council, City of Victor Harbour and RDA representing Kangaroo Island there. And so this is our structure. We have our 4 campuses underneath, Murraylands, Riverland, Fleurieu and Kangaroo Island, each with place-based staff. And then our newer campuses also have advisory groups on the ground as well. I'm going to hand to Caroline now to talk a bit more about the program operation.
Thank you. So in terms of what we actually do, whilst this program has been around for some time, one of the ongoing challenges is always creating that awareness in terms of what is the service and what does it offer. So the Study Hub provides free access, and we really need to reiterate that this entire service is free. It's for students to access infrastructure such as study spaces, high-speed internet, video conferencing facilities. So we have the 2 sites in Murray Bridge. We're part of the TAFE site in Murray Bridge, and also co-located with the Murrayland Skills Centre, which some of you may have been in before. So whilst we have that physical space, most importantly, we provide that wraparound support in terms of academic guidance, administrative help and pastoral care. So we have a student support officer located in each of our sites and across the 2 sites at Murray Bridge there. That's almost like a student's own personal cheerleader, if you like, someone that we check in with them regularly, provides feedback from time to time on assignments, assists with registration of online courses, which can be quite frustrating if people are not familiar with the online platforms. Really just assisting in changing or increasing the number of students that enrol and then actually proceed through to completion as well, so avoiding that dropout rate. So in terms of who we're talking to, the work that we do goes across a range of targets. So school students, so students currently in year 11 and 12, and there's certainly been some work that's been done here with the Mount Community College over the years as well in terms of providing those opportunities to students. We come out and we do career conversations, so actually creating that aspirational piece and encouraging students to understand that the options are so much broader than just the physical unis that can be attended in Adelaide. So one of the key things with this program is we provide support for anyone studying university anywhere in Australia or technically internationally as well, VET courses as well, and also non-accredited studies. So it's not just about universities, it's about increasing any of that post-compulsory school study. So in addition to the work we do with the school students, obviously career changes, if you like. So more mature age students who may be looking to return to study after a career change, maybe looking to get back into the workforce, or just generally upskill as well down the bottom there. So we do work with organisations who are looking to upskill their staff and increase that skill set within their own area. Many of the people that we're working with are already contributing to key local industries, and so again, this is that whole economic development piece around keeping them here to study, but also keeping them here to work. And we all know that's one of the biggest challenges of regional communities. In terms of our team, as you can see there, that's the staff across the campuses. So as Vanessa spoke about the journey previously, we are now at a point where we're operating this umbrella model. So we have staff located in Berry, Kangaroo Island, myself in the middle there, Jane, who's our student advisor for the Murraylands, Emma's in Fleurieu Peninsula, and Vanessa providing that program management support at the end. The local presence is really, really critical for this program, and what we find is that one-on-one relationship that's built up between the student advisor and the student is what we get the most feedback about. So in terms of program achievements, so since the establishment of the Murray River Study Hub, which was the first iteration there, over 833 community members have engaged in some kind of conversation about future study going forward. 81 students are currently studying with support of the program here across the Murraylands and Riverland, and 409 students have graduated with the support of the program. So that's some really, we think there's some really cool numbers, some great tangible outcomes, and certainly for Mid-Murray Council operating across those 2 traditional Murraylands Riverland regions as well. The catchment is quite broad in terms of the students that we're picking up. We also all like to get awards, but it's not just about getting the trophies. This kind of activity for us is about increasing that awareness of the program that I spoke about before. So getting that Study Hub name and brand out there. So we were recognised in May last year for the success of the program through receiving the Local Government Professionals Award across for cross-council collaboration. This program is such an amazing example of councils working together, and I know that, you know, as elected members, you guys would often discuss, I'm sure, the opportunities to work closely with our neighbours and, you know, share learnings. And this is just a great opportunity for how we have developed a model that's been rolled out, you know, much broader than just the traditional Murray-Lands Riverland area. So in terms of actually this area, so I've written Murray-Lands achievement. So it is technically those that we're working with down this end of the river, but just separating those stats out from where I looked at the overall position before. So 467 have engaged in the Murray-Lands, 49 currently studying, and 269 have graduated. So Murray-Lands has been a little bit higher resource in terms of staffing, and obviously the two campuses, so they pick up a little bit more of the numbers, but it's a pretty good spread across two. And what we really do find is that needs vary across those hubs. The services and the opportunities provided at each of the hubs is very much tailored to the needs of the local community. So what's happening down at Blue is a little bit different to what's happening at Berry and that kind of thing. The community, just some pretty pics. Some of you may have seen us out and about. Study Hub is active, attending events, working within schools, as I spoke before, employers and training providers. So just some of the outreach activities there. We attend things like the school expos, and a number of your residents would be students that would attend schools in Murray-Ridge, like Unity as well. They do a lot of career expo work over there, so we've always got a presence there chatting with the students. We also attend things like the Riverland Field Days, previously the Coorong Farm Fair, so just getting that awareness out there. And we also work at the moment, we've actually just got a survey out with the students to all of the schools across Murray-Lands and Riverland, talking about that career aspiration piece, what their plans are going forward in terms of, you know, gap years and things like that, looking to get some data to assist our stakeholders in terms of their future planning and our future planning around, you know, what those longer term outcomes of this kind of program are. Just a couple of bubbles there. The student feedback, as I mentioned before, consistently highlights the value of that face-to-face local support. So especially when you've got someone that might be dealing with a university in Queensland, it's really great to have someone in your camp who can just help you navigate through those spaces. So, yeah, personal connection significantly improves confidence, persistence, and that completion rate, as I noted before. Back to Vanessa.
Back over to me. Okay. So, that was a big summary of about 8 years' worth of work in 10 minutes. So I appreciate we moved through that really fast. But I guess part of the reason that we're here today is to talk about the next 4 years. So we have been very fortunate, Council, to receive 2 funding grants in cycles of 2019 to 2022 and 2022 to 2026. So the current grant cycle that we're in at the moment finishes in June this year. And what we're doing is currently working on what our new 4-year pitch will look like. Based on the success of the program to date and where we've landed and what other things we can see we'd like to do, we will be seeking an increase from the federal government of about 20%. That puts us in the vicinity of about $1.2 million that we'll be looking for this program. And that won't be a big ask. That will be very reasonable. So in order to support that application, what we're doing is going around to all the councils in the Murray-Lands and the Riverland and having a talk to them about the program. And what we're hoping to do is to receive a financial contribution from each of those councils to help support that program and that grant application. So for the Mid-Murray Council, what we're seeking is a small cash contribution of $5,000 from each council. So it is consistent with what we're asking from the other councils as well. We know that any cash contribution that we can secure for the program will greatly increase the chance of landing a new grant because it demonstrates that buy-in, that skin in the game from regional communities, which demonstrates that there's recognised value and that they want program to continue. Oh, man. Okay, I'm looking at my notes. So, as I said, we will be looking at about $1.2 million in a grant from the federal government, as will 16 other study hubs in this round of grant coming. And so what we're going to do is we wanted to talk to you about it today. I'm happy to take questions in a moment, and then we'll send something more formal through to administration to consider in your next, as part of your annual business plan cycle.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, sorry, you're not there.
We're wearing matching colours.
Yeah, I just noticed that. Like, really well, yeah.
I was just wondering whether you have information on students from within our region that are accessing the program.
Yeah, so certainly we collect data on all of the students. So over the years, there's been quite a big cohort through what we call the Career Pathway Program, which is what I spoke about before in terms of school students. So overall, I think the numbers are a bit over 20, 25 maybe have gone through the program at some point. We do have a number of people accessing tertiary bachelor degrees, I believe, that are currently working with the program. But something that we'd like to revisit that has had some success before has been this. I don't know if you want to say.
Yeah, so there's we worked with the Madam Community School in the early days, and there was an appetite for a Start University Now program. And so it's a program that students in year 11 or year 12 can do that actually gives them a bit of a taster into what university looks like. And there was some success and a few graduations early on in that program. It tends to be your students that are aiming for the stars, but a little bit more nervous about actually leaving the region and studying university. And so that's a program that we'll be reintroducing to the school shortly. And it's particularly, it's free, and it does mean that they can try university without jumping in.
That $5,000 fee, is that an annual fee or is that?
Yes, it will be annually over the 4-year period.
Yep.
How are you? You've got the schools covered and also the next step up from that. So the arenas with the changes, and you have the people that sort of raise their family and get back into. How are you targeting them? How do you plan to target them?
Yeah, so that's actually our largest cohort. When we look at our student numbers, it is that mature age student that actually takes up the bulk of the student numbers. And, there's a range of ways that we do that. Word of mouth is huge, and it always is in regional areas. I mean, we have our traditional social media platforms that we're pretty committed to continual messaging, and then we ask people in the communities to share with their networks and things like that. We get out to schools, and when we get out to community, our message is about schools, but it's also about the parents and the aunties and the uncles and everybody else in communities as well. And that's why we attend things like the Riverland Field Days and the Coorong Farm Fair, and any opportunity really to get out there into community and talk to them. Anything else?
Well, just the uni partnerships. So we do also have some partnerships with a number of universities as well, and we're finalising those at the moment for this next round. But part of that is about kind of them pushing us as an opportunity as well to their online students, and that's something we're still kind of finalising in terms of, because there would be a whole number of students that are studying remotely, living here. So how are we kind of reaching out to them to promote our services? And that's another reason around, getting stakeholder buy-in like yourselves, but also the work that we do with the job provider networks and various other existing jobs and skills program and things like that, where we're always kind of reaching out and spreading the word, I suppose, through those networks. I don't know if you want to touch on that, Stuart, or...
Oh, no, I'll leave that one out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else going? I think it's great. I wish it was around the line of school.
Yeah, we hear that a lot. Yeah, absolutely. Even if it's that first year that, to see if it's right for you. University is a big investment, isn't that? Education's a big investment.
Yeah, that big 2-hour move from your family as well, because that's what it is in our area. It's 2 hours to get down, or more or less, or having that flexibility is excellent.
Yeah.
Yes.
No other questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Right. Hey, you're up. Joe and Dave. Say, are you the lady? You're all set. Yeah. I thought I said.
Thank you. Thanks, God. Thanks. That's coming.
I might need this because I probably see that. Well, thank you for having us along for a bit of an update of what's happening with the Murray Lakes in Coorong. I think I know most people here. I'm Dave Hartley. I've had the Mountain Motel for 30 years. I think it is coming up this year. So 5-year plan, haven't really got a plan to do well. Also own River Shack Rentals. Also been on the board of the Murray Lakes in Coorong now, Tourism Alliance for I think 16 years. And been chair now for nearly 3 years. I don't know how that happened either, but I'm very quickly. But and so we've got Joe Dremler, who's a new 4 months regional marketing manager, who goes out and does all the work while we're keeps us informed of what's happening. I've got to say, for all the years I've been in Manum, I'm probably the most excited I am about tourism at the moment. It's really kicking along. I think Mid-Murray Council, Mid Murray area, is very much the hub. Fortunately, I can't say we've got Monatos, we've got the Bangers, but we're right in the centre of all that. And we're certainly noticing as a business that a lot of people are staying in Manum, in the region, to go to the bank. There's not enough accommodation there, so I think it's been extremely strong, and appreciate the support we've been getting from the Mid-Murray Council with what we've been doing. And let's get into the presentation, which was put together by Joe. But we'll just give a little bit of a rough rundown of what we do. We're funded by the different councils, our regional councils, as well as the South Australian Tourism Commission. You may have heard a little bit around, there's a lot going on at the moment, whether we're going to amalgamate with different areas. If you know anything, can you let us know? It's kind of, it's dragging on a little bit, I must say. But we are pretty pleased to say we have started some discussion with Riverland, Destination Riverland, which then we're hoping will then make it a one river. I'm not sure what they're going to be calling it as yet, but certainly we've been starting some calls over the last couple of weeks to get some progress going on that. We believe the Australian tourism want to make it something of the third largest river in the world, and so we're hoping that sort of amalgamating with the Destination Riverland will help us reduce reliance on governance and giving, like Joe, some more backup of actually getting some of the on the ground support. Our alliance, just to give you sort of the key points, we've put together, we're trying to foster more of the regional visitation, probably more of our goal over the last 2 years has been networking, bringing a lot more of the operators together rather than being everyone's face, actually introducing the different operators around and getting that working a lot better, which we've never done in the past. But we certainly support local business and local tourism, where but aiming away improving the governance of not only our operations but also other operators of their own, developing the strategic partnerships, getting stronger alliances between councils. One of our board members is Vanessa, and I've certainly got to speak for the skills centre. It's been absolutely fantastic for us having a hot desk there. It's been really good rather than trying to find meeting places all the time. So for them, I think it's been really good. But it's also been a very strong partnership in dealing with having different councils involved. Our key focuses are the destination management, destination development, and of course the marketing, but also to bring everyone together, different operators, a lot of small operators in our region. There's a lot that don't know things like the ATDW and getting those. That's part of our job, is to get everyone listed in there. Our performance, unfortunately, we can't give you any figures. They're not going to relay. The South Australian Tourism Commission have done an upgrade to their collecting of figures, and they won't have anything available till April. But hopefully, by the time we meet up next time, we can do it more. Our visitor profile is about 71% comes from intrastate, 25% interstate, and 4% international visitors. I would be kind of arguing that at the moment, because I think we're getting a lot more interstate happening, and the big spend interstate, especially when you see things that are happening at Monarto, the Safari Park, the Bend. I think they've got something like 320 events this year, so it's certainly bringing a lot more people in. So it'd be interesting to get a lot more of an updated figures.
Definitely feel free to email that through to us so you have some sort of recap.
Yeah,
It'll be really interesting to see.
Some of our KPIs on the destination management, we do the electronic direct marketing. I hate these acronyms. We send on those out every month, just to keep the operators, and I think everyone here will probably get them as well, or council does, just to update what's happening in the region, different grants can happening, new operators, try and get those together, and certainly some operations where we're getting skill development happening. We do industry networking. We try and do that every few months, where we try and bring all the different operators together, and usually have someone do a presentation. Say from Monarto, they told us all about the new do, but we're getting 80 at one of them. Obviously, I would say the Safari Park, but total attendance for the last two have been 110, which certainly brings a lot of people networking together and a good chance you to catch up. We've got a Facebook group which operates to just keep all the operators in the region informed of what's happening. One of the big projects that's happening at the moment is a destination management plan, which has been organised by the South Australian Tourism Commission, one of our funding partners, which is, I suppose, give us a bit of a refreshing of what is actually happening in the region, or what different operators, different community members, to councils and everything, want to see what happens with tourism in the region. For me, it's been a little bit of an eye-opener going to a couple of them. There's a lot of things that I've got to say were just little things that were suggested and brought up that I thought, yeah, okay, we've forgotten about those. And so I think once this plan comes out, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. The destination development, we have been to ATEC, which is the Domestic Trade and Export Council. I think the seven operators were trained in that, and some different training sessions just for all those working overseas with in markets coming in. One of our big successes, I think, as an operator, I'm seeing a lot, is the 777, which is a new initiative that was put together, which is all the motor museums within the region. We've got the one in Mannum, hoping once we can get the steam car back here, the Information Centre Canal Museum can also be incorporated in that. But it's the 7 motor museums around the region, from Swan Reach to Truro, Murray Bridge, Waipo, and Strathalbyn. And it's actually brought the operators together, but it's also given them a touring route to go through. And I've got to say, it's actually been quite an interesting amount of people that's coming through. As an operator, I've got to say, it's been great because it's small groups. It's not the really big groups that fill up the whole place. It's nice just to have those little ones coming through, and it's amazing how many groups there are out there. So that's something that's been quite successful. The destination, touring group, a little bit more information about that. It's certainly something I think that's going to grow in interest, and hopefully we can keep getting more and more involved in that. Probably our biggest hold up at the moment is we really need to have a central booking area, but that's something that is work in progress. The part of the 777 activity is we worked with Expanding Horizons, which is a major coach company out of Adelaide. They brought in 31 different coach companies from all over Australia, and we're able to present them and talk about the regions. So it's a lot of stuff like that. I think the Murray Lakes and Coorong Tourism Alliance are doing. It's really hard to actually pull some figures out and say this is the results of them, but it is just keeping our name out there the whole time and making this one of the destinations you have to visit. Sorry, a bit more about the triple down. Destination, also part of the destination marketing is the Australian Tourism Exchange, which we're attending in May, which is actually based in Adelaide, which I think a lot of that is going to be actually spinning off to this area because a lot of tours the meals have been booked through Kelly, Keen with a dark sky. So that's looking forward to seeing how much that does. So I think 4 days we're down there. And they've taken 6 operators, Jungle House from here, Bridgeport Hotel, then Motorsport Park, Spirit of Coorong, which was a National Tourism Award winner a couple of weeks ago. The Safari Park, which got silver, and the resort, got silver. So it's all bringing together the whole region. So a bit more about that.
Yes, I guess one of the focuses will be on the dark sky as well. So a big focus for our sort of region. That's been one of our main, I guess, in our scans for the dark sky on the back. So again, Kelly there is kind of a good focus that we're dispersing the whole region, but sort of focusing on that dark sky as a real bring through.
I think Dark Sky has been probably one of our biggest projects, and I'd say one of the quietest as well. It's very a silent achiever.
Yes.
And I mean, day after day, there's more and more coming in. That's we're just trying to support that as much as we can on different levels.
It's one of our biggest, I guess, search engine is Dark Sky. It's one of these things that come to our website. It's in Dark Sky.
The 7 News article was good as well. The other one. 2 days ago or something.
Yeah, Saturday night, I think.
Yeah, there was a 7 News article, which was.
And it's just, and I think that's our biggest part of our role is just trying to bring all those sort of things together and then getting the publicity when we can, and it's just being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
To getting those doing. I think Gary's what's happening with the Dark Sky is absolutely fantastic. It's really got some great opportunities. But it's also one of those very hard to pinpoint what the actual economic income is. But they've got to fill up somewhere, they've got to get something to eat. So that's a big part. We're constantly trying to get the different meals and getting people to know, getting RAA to do stories, and I guess that's a big part of it. So I've got a story just on the road being open from Blanchetown to Morgan now.
Yeah.
How much difference that makes. So RAA going to do a feature on that. So I think that's part of our for meals from there. So. Did you want to talk on the Dark Sky?
Yeah, I want just a little bit. Everything here. But I guess the ongoing marketing of this on the digital component, as mentioned, we've got actually a dedicated page or the semi-page or it's off our main page about the River Murray International Dark Sky. But because of that, we have sort of our website content. Again, we have a dedicated 777 landing page as well as I mentioned, the Dark Sky actually ranks one of our high search terms, so people looking to get out and about. We have a sort of always on marketing social media coverage happening, which is a dispersal message across the whole region, so it varies between different operators and events and opportunities here, which is a consumer-facing social media side. Operator campaign, so we align with SATC a lot and with their initiatives, including the Gather Round and Winter campaign. So it's getting that information out to the operators and making sure they have their ATVW listings up to date, and the importance of doing those all up to date and how that disperses then into SATC's website, into our website as well. So we work in that, getting those initiatives out to the operators. And then ongoing sort of web development is happening in the background. We're hoping to set up a more trade dedicated page. There's a place trade can actually go and find out who's aboard, what their roles are, links to ATVW, links to programs that are happening. So it's like a one-wall stop for them to find out information. So we've got the direct email, the Facebook page, as well as a dedicated page where everyone sort of takes information in different ways. So that's basically sort of what's happening there in the background, sort of going on, sort of always on.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, just with destination marketing, we work with SATC and Hello SATV, and Dairy Ventures was featured earlier in the year in one of the episodes, which was great. Yeah, boosted the area and that great coverage for Dairy Venture as well, who've done really well this year, getting at the tourism awards. Came second behind the resort. So so they did really well. So we've got that going on. Background as well. I guess moving forward, moving forward, sort of got the destination management plan, which has just happened out. Just done our workshops out here. We've had one here in Madden, which Dave has already spoken about. We had a great 30 people came out from the region, from this area or council area. So that was really good. That's an ongoing process, and they're not looking at delivering the actual outcome of that plan until past June, July, August. So we're still waiting for that to come through, but that'll be ongoing. We'll be ongoing behind the scenes working with SATC to get that all finalised. We've got sort of, I guess, the trade delivery will be looking at sort of post results from ATE, sort of what's come from the major, I guess that's a major focus for the next couple of months is ATE. It's quite a big, it's one of the largest trade shows it's the largest Australian trade show for the international trade, with sort of over 80 appointments over 4 days. So it's a real great opportunity to get that international focus. And then also we've been supporting the winter campaign from SATC, the Riverland, the river itself is a big focus for them over the winter campaign. So we'll hopefully be pushing most of hopefully operating, getting some deals out so that can be front and centre for that. And as I spoke about before, sort of ongoing industry, digital and industry communications, sort of improving those so we can get information out to the operators on the way.
That's it.
You killed it.
Yeah. One more.
It's in the summary anyway.
There's a summary. Yeah. No, maybe, then sort of, that's where we're at. There's an overview of what's happened over the last 8-9 months of this financial year.
Questions?
Any questions at all?
I'm just wondering about, with the success of the motor museum trail, there are other, I was wondering about river destination trails, tours that take you to different towns of the way up the river maybe, and also things like the art trail, stuff like that. Can you comment on where the river sits in your plan in terms of promotion and tourism?
Unfortunately, probably the biggest thing you get to mention it, but obviously it is the one we're just starting to work on too with Riverland is the paddle boat sort of trail as well. So you're starting from the industry and obviously from your jury to follow the river down, which will be part of this. Hopefully, if they pull this some funding for the whole river promotion, but certainly as soon as we can get the canally. So it's up and running, but it needs to be promoted, get the information for that. So that's sort of part of it. But I guess everything does centre around the river for us, river and dark sky. But you just forget to bring that up as I've mentioned a lot of times. It is probably art trails. We haven't done a lot. There is certainly the mention. We also produce a guide every year. And there's more mentions of that. And I think there's a lot of things along that food and wine trails and that are all mentioned in there, so it's all always raised. Awareness is always raised.
It was quite a big, I guess, at the workshops or something the operators sort of put out as like a sort of that food trail, getting sort of people to eat locally and support local in that area and then get sort of trails. So it's sort of brought up a bit more, so it's trying to be more being brought forward in this management plan. To sort of finalise.
Thank you. Another question as well. With regards to your sort of marketing out there and channels, I know you mentioned Facebook, but a lot of the younger generation moving away from that platform and probably wanting more tweets and TikToks. And are we looking at opening up our social media platforms to attract a younger market as well? As once social media becomes a bit old and then moves on to the next you've got to stay abreast with our stuff if we are promotional platform?
Well, at this stage, we have the Facebook and Instagram. Because SATC also are the broad marketing for us, there's only enough. You guys to put TikTok things out, and we'd have to. At the moment, we don't have resources. I guess I'll be honest, we don't have the resources to put those things in place, so they'll be outsourced through what we're looking at within our social media plan. But definitely something to work for. But we also feed a lot of information into SATC, and then they feed that information out as a broader level to make sure we get we use our resources of let's sort of manage and
It's just exciting. It's really exciting what you're doing. You know.
Really pleased what's happened. It's 30 years of struggling and it's starting to really pay off. We've had our best 2 years, the last 2 years. I think we're getting a better quality of people come through. They're spending a bit more money as well, which is great to see. And I think even probably the holiday homes, people are spending more money on their properties, and I think our spend out there is really good. And I think the awareness of the region is probably we're not having to explain what the region is anymore. Everyone knows it, and I think that's probably the most pleasing part, I find, because you know it's like it was a struggle trying to explain what Manor was for quite a while. But
And I think one of the really good things that came out was having the photographer on the married, which was down to Coorong, and the kind of that short film, which was just so emotive and just so powerful.
Yeah.
And that was funded by you guys. It was all together, so we didn't have to sort of pay that, but it's just it's a really great piece of collateral advertising that we've sort of got there.
hopefully it's more.
Yeah, really.
Thank you. Another question. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Right. Yes. Go to the library. Go one copy in.
Being vertical and the secrets to the so that's all me, but yeah. Okay, so not give you enough that.
Yeah. It's really easy to look at. That might sort of.
Yeah, Victoria might be hard. Yeah.
Excellent. Right. Thanks, everyone. So we've got Iberdrola here to give us an update on Tungkillo BESS. So we've got Jonathan Steeney, who is General Manager, Community and Regional Development. We've got Christina Olivier, Project Development Manager. We have Maria Coorong, General Manager for Development New South Wales and South Australia. And over to them.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having us here today to talk about the Tungkillo battery. It's a late stage battery. And it's been fantastic working with Murray Council and David as well to help today. We've got a little agenda that's been producing Iberdrola, Australia. But I'd like to start with just acknowledging the traditional owners on the lands that we're gathered here today. I do my respects to elders, past and present, and also parents through or I would want to straight out of this. On the agenda, a bit about Iberdrola Australia, who we are and what we do, and we'll jump straight into a little bit of an overview on the Tungkillo battery and an indicative timeline just for what's coming up. So if we have to take any questions, I'll say also we'll look straight in. What we do, who we are, Iberdrola Australia is a developer, owner and operator. We also sell our electricity to commercial and industrial customers across Australia. We've been working close to Australian communities for the last 20 years, and we have about 13 operational assets across the eastern border. And it's very important for us to come that long-term owner-operator, making sure we're developing those relationships for long term with the communities and stakeholders in which we operate. This map is just showing a bit of good overview into some of the projects we have under operation, construction, and under development. One of the core focuses on South Australia, New South Wales, South Australia, where the focus of the company now is working on the Tungkillo battery, close to Blackheath Road and Richmond Road. And we've got a number of batteries that we're currently operating and under construction, including the Rocksound battery close to Rockhampton. Flying over there tomorrow to see it all ready to go. It'll be really exciting. We just move on. Any questions so far around the operating assets? We may just move on to the next slide. This just to explain, for us, is very important in Australia. Australia is based on developing renewable energy, having that firming capacity to help the electricity community system, and then selling on that electricity to the local customers. And we've just kind of shown a couple of customers we have at the moment, including Adelaide Airport, Latrobe University. And I'll quickly pass over to Christina, who's been the project manager for this battery and has been working really closely with the local community and all the key stakeholders throughout the course of the project. And yeah, I'll let her kind of introduce the project and her involvement to date since we applied the project from BESS Group. Thank
you, Maria. The Tungkillo BESS project, as you can see on the map, is south of Tungkillo. It's next to the Tungkillo substation, electronet substation. So we proposed a 217 megawatt battery with a duration of 4 hours. And it's just on that land adjacent to the substation, access through Electronet Road, which goes through Blackheath Road. The location is we're here because it's on Murray Council area, but it's also on Paramount Country. We have been developing that relationship with the Paramount Aboriginal Corporation. We received development approval, so it is an approved project. We received development approval in December of 2024. By then, it was a project that was led by RES Group, which was the previous developer, and we acquired it from them in October 2025. So last year we took over. We had been working with them previously. By the time we acquired it, we were able to do a handover, and we've been working on the project since then. We are in that pre-construction stage, trying to get it ready for construction this year, with the aim of starting mid this year and hopefully reaching commercial operations by mid-2028. This is a bit of a layout, and it's an indicative layout of what we think the project will look now. It's very similar to what was proposed in the development approval, because we are bound by that approval and it needs to be within those bounds. So we've got the main area shown in purple is what the batteries will be on, and then we've got all of the auxiliary infrastructure around it, including the substation, which will then connect into that line, which is that corridor we can see they're connecting into the Tungkillo substation. It's a good location for that project because that connection is quite short, and because it's adjacent, it's only about 700 metres of transmission line, and so it's quite a short transmission line in that sense, and making sure the footprint is close to the substation is quite important for the project. Just briefly, we did want to put this here because as part of the South Australia Electricity Development Plan, there was highlight the long duration capacity needed in the electricity system, and that sort of informed what is called the firm energy reliability mechanism, which is a mechanism that will allow the batteries to be incentivised to participate in the market. And so we just bid the Tungkillo battery as part of that firm energy reliability mechanism. And hopefully, if we do, we'll get awarded and be able to participate in that and improve that resilience of the power system through that mechanism supported by that electricity development plan. I might pass on to Jonathan to talk a bit about the community engagement that we've done throughout the project, especially since we acquired it from RES and what we've done with Murray Council, but as well with other key stakeholders that we've tried to have a relationship with since we acquired it.
Thanks, Christina. So as both Murray and Christina had mentioned, since we did acquire the project from RES, we really have made a concerted effort to make sure that we are engaging with the community. That has involved a number of different stakeholder groups, one of which is Murray Council, and I'm glad to see both Gary and Nat in the room have been really instrumental for us in terms of making that connection and supporting us as well through that process. Obviously important for us is the engagement that we have first and foremost with the landholders, with the neighbours, and some of the work that we've been doing since October last year is to make sure that we're reaching out, informing the community and those neighbours and those properties around there of our timelines and of the project broadly. I mentioned the engagement that we've had with the Murray Council. It's been really excellent in terms of the benefits that we're looking to deliver to the community, but also some of the other engagements that we've had, such as drop-in sessions, other community groups we should be reaching out to. And as part of that, it's also the local progress association. So we've made sure that we've come out here to brief the progress associations from Madden, Palmer, Broxley, and also Tungkillo. Again, just to share information with them around the project when we're going to get construction and look at ways that we can also support them as well through the project and the benefit planning that we have installed. Some of the other work that we've done is making sure that we're engaging the CFS, in particular the Rockley CFS, which is located close to the project site. We understand how important that is in terms of mitigating and making sure that we have any bushfire or fire management plans in place that also are very key stakeholder for us. We've mentioned the engagement that we've had with the paramedic vehicle as well, but just to make sure that we're informing the board community, we've made sure we've held a couple of drop-in sessions as well with Tungkillo Swans Memorial Hall. They were held back in January this year. And in terms of some of the investment that we've been working on, as I said, through some of these conversations that we're having with the local progress associations, we've been able to identify some opportunities to be able to support them. We have a grant round, which is currently on foot. It has been for the last 6 or so weeks, so we've got another week left of that. But as part of that, we've received some really good applications, which we're excited to get involved in and support, from the Mount Pleasant Show, which is coming up this weekend, through to the Lavender Trail. Also looking at supporting Tungkillo Progress Association with a sail and playground at the Soldiers Memorial Hall. Also supporting the Rockley CFS with a shipping container to house some of their equipment. In addition to that, as I mentioned before, we're working with Gary and Natalie on our benefit sharing program as per the policy which the council has just released. So we do look forward to signing an agreement with the council and making sure that those benefits are really unique where we obviously have that project. Last but not least, another thing that we are exploring to support community, and that is a energy credit program. Where we're looking to support those dwellings around the proximity of the project, providing them an energy bill credit over the life of the project as well. So that's something we're currently looking at. health impacts, Maria Christine.
If we just have a final timeline of where the project is at. You said we received development approval and that we've acquired it from RES and are now working to get it ready for construction. Our aim is to finalise our infrastructure agreement with Murray Council so we can access the site through that Blackheath Road and the Lengthenett Road and do the road upgrades necessary of that road to make sure we're maintaining it to the standards of the existing road in the council. So we're working on that and we plan to mobilise to site mid-June, July. That is the current sort of indicative timeline that we're looking at. We plan to do the road upgrades at the same time while we're just mobilising, but making sure we finalise the road upgrades and any intersection upgrades that we need to do before we have high traffic impact activities. So the road is well set up for when we actually start big deliveries. So that is a bit of that indicative timeline, and things can vary a bit from this, but it's what we're onto those next steps. As Jonah was saying, we've got that ongoing community engagement that will continue through sort of construction and through the life of the project, and we'll make sure there's a good handover from what we call this pre-construction stage to the construction, and that will be a key focus as well as closing out those benefit agreements and things like that. And then after mobilising to site, we'll come with a construction program, which once we've got a better idea of what that looks like, we'll make sure to inform community with the expectation of May 2028 reaching commercial operations. That's a bit of what we wanted to present, and we're happy to answer any questions.
I was just wondering how you're going with the ups and downs of community attitudes. Are you seeing an increase or a stabilisation of response by the community? Those who are concerned, and the scale of that issue that seems to have grown up organically in the last half decade or so?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think, on the whole, we've found in our engagement, people in communities around here have been very supportive of our project. I think there is a very high level of education around understanding of different technologies within that renewable energy sector, let's say, from batteries through the wind farm. We understand there's a lot of projects going on in the Mid-Murray Council area as well. So there's obviously a lot of information which is being shared. But in our driving sessions, we have some quite positive feedback in terms of the project. I think importantly for the community, it's just making sure that they're feeling as though they're informed and being kept up to date with how things are tracking. So I don't think there's any real concerns. I think the key things for them is, managing Blackheath Road is probably one thing. I think fire management is probably the other. In terms of the actual technology itself, they're not much while they're concerned. It's just, as I said, making sure that information flow is there.
I guess we hear the voices, Peter shouts aloud, this kind of thing. We hear those voices. We just have no way of judging how many people that actually is,
To love money gets right.
Yeah.
You represent there, but you said also with these community engagement things with the life of the project. What do you envisage? Obviously how it's this screen, but the life of this agreement. What's the age of doing it?
Yeah, so it's roughly 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Just to finish off, obviously, we are having ongoing conversations with people projects and myself in terms of finalising all the infrastructure agreements that are needed as part of these projects, either as reserve matters or their development approvals as part of the project themselves. So we are in throes of trying to get them all finalised. That's probably the most complex component really on the day. And secondly, as Phil said, we're working closely, with all the renewables around the benefit sharing, our policies, our consultation. We've met with most of the renewables. I know the three around Tungkillo. Obviously, they're looking to provide feedback individually, but they are trying to be consistent in the feedback they give us. So we do appreciate the fact that we are getting with feedback around the policy and how they operate. Thanks.
For the question, thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Preventative Health Project.
Hi everyone, I'll keep it brief. Just a little update on Preventative Health Partnership as we're sort of moving into our implementation phase. I'd like to start.
Okay. What? Technology. I stand here. What's not reading it all? Oh, Daryl, the IT manager.
Got by.
Yeah. There we go. Oh, there we go.
Wondering which TV room actually had the big toothpicks.
But yes, first just like to do a quick acknowledgement of the country and acknowledge that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people of Australia as the first traditional owners of the land in order for which we meet and work. We pay respect to elders past and present, recognising their importance and ongoing role in connection to this ancient and beautiful land, and we're committed to working on our reconciliation journey. So as you know, this is a partnership between Preventative Health SA, Rural City of Murray Bridge District Council with East Murray, and the Mariners Woodland Local Government Association, of course, hosted by Big Murray. It's a regional collaboration focused on improving long-term health and wellbeing of Somalilands through planning and coordinated action, evidence-based preventive health initiatives, and strong partnerships across councils, agencies, and community organisations. So we'll just start with a little recap of what is preventive health. And so the goal of prevention is to maintain and improve the health and wellbeing of the entire population while simultaneously reducing health disparities between priority population groups. And so why focus on preventive health? There's a range of health and wellbeing benefits, obviously. So we reduce illness and early death from chronic conditions. So people are not only living longer, but they're being healthier for longer. There's a range of economic benefits, so long-term cost saving by keeping people out of the hospital system, which is very expensive, but it also supports people to participate in productivity and society more broadly. Societal benefits, so looking at a whole of population approach or targeted interventions for specific population groups. And finally, it's got a really strong equity focus, so looking at addressing the causes of the causes and the underlying drivers of poor health. So at the council level, we're really focused on the primordial and primary prevention. So that's looking at the prevention of a disease or condition from occurring in the first place. Our secondary prevention is also our screening initiatives, early detection, and the tertiary focuses on reducing harm when you've already got a chronic condition. And so this is when we're talking public health and preventive health. This is a bit of an analogy that we use is when we're looking upstream. We can sort of see that the people are falling in the river, and downstream is our ambulance and our very health, expensive hospital system that are getting pulled out there. So when we're looking upstream, we look upstream and look at the river, what's going on, what's the cause. So quite often the analogy is well, the railing's broken on the bridge and that's why people are falling in. So what can we do at that upstream level to prevent people falling in? We've got a little video which hopefully plays. Just to give a little bit of context around local government and the role they can play in preventive health. Public health more generally. That's all right. It's a really good video. Yeah,
Watch later.
yeah.
It's actually a WA based one. And we've, as part of the implementation plan, we're actually looking into whether we create one for the whole of SA local government for us, if we have the funding to be able to.
It's very expensive. But it just gives a little sort of snapshot into public health, where it comes, where it is now, the role that local government plays, and sort of, you know, as the tier closest to your community, you know your communities well, and have what we can do in that space. But we'll sort of move on. So this is a little roadmap snapshot of where we're at with the partnership. We started with our data analysis, our community engagement, so lots of face-to-face meetings. We had a survey open for quite a while, which we brought all that together for synthesis, which was then put into a concept plan, and then all presented at a co-design workshop back in October. And from all that and pulling all that together, we formed an implementation plan. So we're just at the initial stages of the implementation phase. And here's just a little snapshot of some of our population health data. So we can see that for Mid-Murray, we've got mental health conditions, alcohol consumption is a bit higher than the state, and overweight and obesity across 3 council areas isn't looking great. And again, higher rates of suicide ideation. So these are health measures relative to preventive health as priority areas in their strategic documents. And so from all of that, we pulled this together, looking at the data, looking at our community consultation, we pulled together a concept plan. So tying back into, this is my creative something, I'm not sure what you call it, but looking at our upstream prevention and of course being Mid-Murray, we can see that our prevention priorities emerged as mental health and wellbeing, alcohol and other drugs, and obesity. And then for our priority populations or key populations, we look at socially isolated people, older adults, children and families, drought-affected people, and of course our First Nations communities. And this concept plan really outlines the work that we want to be doing and provides a strategic guidance, particularly with our principles around collaboration, sustainability, health equity, and having it accessible and inclusive communities, but also prevention focused. And then so diving into our plan, this took a little while, it's a bit of my brain dump trying to do everything together, but 3 key themes emerged. So looking at collaboration and partnerships, so not only building internal cross-council, like internal inter-department council collaboration, but really leveraging off the partnership for cross-council collaboration. Each council's got something different to offer and we can build on that. Also working closely with the MRNGA and other organisations such as the Heart Foundation, Alcohol Drug Foundation, things like that. And then our next key pillar is sustainability. So we know that we want to embed something that's long lasting. So again, exploring long-term sustainable actions that embed preventive health approaches into our everyday practice. So building internal capability, exploring how we can apply our preventive health lens to support lasting systems change. So again, leveraging off expertise from Preventative Health SA and the partnership. They've got 7 partnerships with key organisations, Heart Foundation, Council, Diabetes SA, so working in and again with what resources they have. And then a key part is community connection and inclusion. And so a big part of that is our communication and promotion. So we've been looking at rebranding for Mid-Murray, particularly the Mid-Murray Health and News Facebook page to make it a Live Well, more sort of wellbeing centred page for health promotion, activating local places and spaces that build wellbeing, and of course linking in with our community action planning there. And then we've got some more short-term actions relative to our priority health areas. So we're looking at mental health and wellbeing, looking at upstream. We know that racism and discrimination are significant determinants of mental health. So what can we do in our council places and spaces to ensure that we're doing, making them accessible and inclusive, even coming back to our social media, what language are we using around that? We're looking at alcohol and drugs. So again, partnership with the Alcohol and Drug Foundation, linking in where we can for opportunities to increase access to protective factors across our community, and then obesity prevention. So looking at what can we do in council. So as it's across the 3 councils, Coorong is really keen on getting a healthy eating policy in place, looking at other opportunities to increase physical activity, things like that. And yes, moving forward, we want to launch our Live Well with Murray Facebook page, increasing our social media and roll out the toolkits for language along with that. Begin our cross-council initiatives and continue building on that cross-council collaboration, and then some capability building around council staff and our ongoing monitoring and evaluation of the project. And so, yeah, we're entering our delivery phase now. We've got some clear actionable steps and the positive momentum is underway. And that's all from me.
Any questions for Zara? It's like a long copy of this, so that I could read for the final print. Some of those slides are a bit small for me to read. So, yeah, that's it to us. I believe that'd be great. Of course.
Come along, right? Since we last.
Yeah. And obviously we're putting an update in our quarterly updates, so you'll keep getting information around where we're at with what Zara's implementing. But yeah, we just wanted to come along and provide
A little update.
Yeah, been a lot of work gone into it. So
Yeah, and obviously it's quite high level being across the 3 councils. The implementation might be a little bit different for everyone. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're getting up.
We're going to add something for a minute.
Come on.
We are ways and the reason.
The briefing on that. Agenda.
Yeah.
What did we call which for?
Oh, I've just written in April for a briefing. We'd like to have a bit of a look at the waste plan.
First,
I know, please.
Councilman, we have a
Just an overview of the whole plan.
instead of a report, we do a briefing on the waste plan.
We did a waste service review many years ago. We actually updated just recently where waste plan was and what we're doing implementing.
I think this is more about the rollout.
Yeah, the rollout.
So the bin rolling, will get charged with high level presentation just on that.
Yeah, that's all. There's only extra thing to.
Sorry, just focus on something.
Sorry. What else is coming up? We have a shipping container, and a community engagement charter.
Project works. Oh, that's for that regional move.
Oh, I'm talking about April, sorry.
Just talk about what's on the agenda, like for the agenda, what's coming up in April. Okay, well, if there's something else we need to add, on to that, this project works.
Okay, thanks very much for that. You've provided a couple of links in regards to the project works policy. And I suppose the project works policy was developed because council had a private works policy a couple of years ago with council grade people's roads at cost and so forth. So there was an element of private works previously and also a plant usage policy. So to try to ratify that and obviously look at any preventative issues associated with that, the council taking on work that the general companies would do. We brought in what is a project works policy. We made some amendments to it in the attachments. On the basis of that, we developed a policy, and ironically, someone took it from us and then they've refined it. So we've so it's worked in their favour. So what's actually happened is this has worked actually very well. I suppose, but when you start looking at the clauses in there that says 3111 says that work won't affect our ability to agree to deliver our agreed works program, we have a very, very tight program. So we don't do a lot of this work whatsoever. Okay, so not a lot of call to do it. There are sometimes considerations from a government agency to consider work. We've actually now put in there that we would actually undertake that with an internal rate plus 30%, whether the council wants to up that or not, but that seems to be the going rate. Also, we actually up the element of that if we provide contractual support or material for support, but not physical work involvement, that we're on cost of 10% as well. The element of this policy also had to give consideration to the fact that when we stop doing private works, we actually then go on people's property and leave our plant and equipment there on weekends and overnight. And there's a massive security issue with our plant. So what we did was incorporated this, that if we had an agreement where we've got specific sites, we leave our plant and equipment, our patrol graders go out, leave it at someone's property, we'll assist them by returning a favour and then doing some minor works from which might be just grade the driveway, and then we actually have to have no plant damage the next day, hopefully. We do leave plant on the side of the road at some times, construction plant, and they get broken into. We lose a lot of gear, so that does work in their favour. The other element with this one is we're putting in there about support projects, so clause 3.2. What we find and what we have found is that, and I suppose it comes through the elected members, it comes through to the mayor, and we've received quite a few of these, some come direct to staff, where a local community group will look at, I've got one right now, a 6-tonne rubble to do some work at Canberra Oval. Now, it's insignificant to us, I can't sell the material, but if we were to look at it and the CEO delegates and says we can use that material, because reputationally we're still trying to help the group, we're still being able to assist them in developing those areas. It's a minor cost to us. So looking at those support projects, we had another one where a local emergency services went to Mayor Bailey and said, can you assist us in doing a job? We had to, so from a reputational point of view, rather than saying no, we're not going to help you, we actually went through the process and said, okay, well, it's only really half a day, we might be able to do a little bit of work. So we're actually adding this clause 3.2.1 where the CEO has the delegation to be able to make a determination as to whether we then help in those groups. Basically, a free charge cost. So it helps us, again, from a reputational point of view, also from an element that we're still supporting the community. So I suppose it's open for discussion. That is the purpose of the policy. Again, like I said, there is a lot of scope that we can go and say, okay, well, let's go and do a day's job, because if I want to do a grain, a loader and all that, it's about $2.5 grand. So I can't do that because we're always building roads, we're always doing other work. So the only other way to do that is if the guys want to work an RDO or want to work a weekend. So there is, it's very tight time frames on us, and it has been for quite some time. So if anyone's had a chance to have a look at the policy of the amendments, if there's any feedback, happy to take it on board.
Yeah. Straightforward. Very straightforward, yeah. Really love it.
We'll bring that back to council.
You see all that red initially and you're like, wow, you're seeing everything. What are you doing to this? And you're like, oh,
That's pretty basic. It just gives the framework for moving forward to the community groups. And obviously, some community groups, they are repetitive. They used to be repetitive. Can I. And so that's why we brought in the fact that they pay at a return rate. So that way, then, we're still doing the community.
Yeah. Right. Thank you. Good job.